Ted Hall is sitting here with us. Welcome.
How do you do?
We're doing
wonderful,
well. How are you
wonderful.
doing?
I'm doing great.
Now, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about you before we start talking about the Wonder Years.
Well, I recently, about 2 years ago, I retired from the Division of Blind Services, which is a part of the Department of Education in charge of providing rehabilitation for all blind and severely visually impaired people in the state of Florida.
Oh.
So it was a great job. We covered 7 counties, and my main office was here in Tampa, and just a great group of people to work with. I enjoyed it very much.
You know, you talk about education and helping people and that kind of stuff. It seems like your life has been all about mentoring and helping and tutoring. Tell us a little bit about the Wonder Years. And it's not what people are thinking. It's not the 1988 or 1992 television series with the short little dude on there. Yeah. This is a little different. This is maybe a different Wonder, right?
It is, but he was a short little dude.
Back then.
When I first started with him, he only came up to about my shoulder, and he was just barely 13 years old. He had a...
Who's he?
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. Oh, that's
Stevie
great.
Wonder.
And then you tutored him throughout his school years then, right?
Well, I worked with him started in 63, and he was just barely 13 years old at that time, and he had a hit record, a single, and a hit album simultaneously, and they needed a teacher, a certified teacher for the blind, to go with Stevie on the road so that he could promote his songs and his career. So that's really how I got started. The story about how they found me is, half a chapter, but it was a marvelous experience, and I'm really glad that I had a part to do with that, because I was able to work with Stevie and take him from the 5th grade through high school graduation, and also handle his tour. I was tour management at the same time, and we went all over the world, and I was working with all of the acts there at Motown, the Temptations, and the Supremes, and the Four Tops, Marvin Gaye, and we'd all get on this bus and go down south on the 30-night,
how awesome.
one-night tours.
How awesome.
It got pretty bad sometimes, but it was a great experience.
But you, it's funny, and you're very humble. Just for the record, I want you to.
Well, thank you very much.
Because I think that what you've done is incredible, because you basically kept from a lot. Your job wasn't only just
it was part
being
dad
a teacher.
too.
It was being a dad, being a mentor, keeping Stevie out of trouble, and keeping him on track, and keeping him in school, fighting for his week of school that he needed to be there, fighting for him to be back at the certain institute for the blind,
School for the Blind,
make sure that he was there, and keeping him out of trouble from all the things that rock star and R&B and all the on the road kind of stuff is. I find there to be somewhat of a contrast in the early 60s through this, late 60s, that you're not African American. How did that work out?
Well, Barry Gordy hires the best person,
right.
And of course they want to hire Afro-American people if they can find the best ones. And if the guy happens to be white, that's fine. And as it turned out with Stevie, it was almost like a miracle. I was a part of a team. But I played a very important part, and I just seemed to be the right guy at the right time. I liked music. I loved traveling. I had a songwriting contract in Nashville with a friend of mine. And then I was a certified teacher for the blind, and I was not married. And my relationship with Stevie year-wise, I'm only 12 years older than he is. So back then I was like, the adult, but today we could double date, I guess.
What took you so long? I mean, you finished mentoring, tutoring him years and years and years and years ago. Why did you wait so long
years,
to
right?
write your book?
35-something years?
Yeah, around 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
But why did you wait so long to write your book? Why didn't you capitalize when he was hot?
Well, first of all, I didn't realize I was going to write a book. And I was so involved in my own career after I left Stevie, going back and getting a master's degree and getting involved in the rehabilitation business. And it wasn't really until the early 90s that Esther Edwards, who was actually the lady that hired me for the job, she's Barry Gordy's senior sister, and she said, "Ted, you need to write a book. And anybody that worked with Stevie Wonder and Motown for 7 years, you've got a book in you, and you need to write it." And she just sort of was my mentor as far as getting the idea that somebody actually would read something that I might write.
I know that we're running out of time, but I just have one more question to ask you before I want you to tell us how we can get this book. Did you have to get Stevie Wonder's permission? Did he have to read this before it went to press?
No, I did not, because it's my story. And Stevie's involved in it. But I did. Well, I did. I mean, he saw the book, and he approved of it. But I didn't have to get an attorney or anything like that. Because we're friends. We're very good friends.
Tell us how I can purchase this book if I wanted it.
You can go on to Amazon.com or go to any large bookstore and they'll order it for you. Or you could go to my website, StevieWonderBook.com, and see some of the photos and read a little bit about it, and then you can order it right directly from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of inspiring quotes and stuff like that, and a lot of people that have read it and said this is an amazing book. It's a great adaptation of what had happened in your life, and a trip takes you kind of through the trip. Forgot what I was going to say, but it was very intelligent and smart, so let's just leave it at that.
I'll go for that.
Ted, thank you very much, and I can't wait to read the book.
You wrote a couple songs too.
Yes,
Stevie, right? That you get residual. You get checks in the mail every now and then, don't you?
We do. I was a part of Stevie's whole thing there. The songwriting, being on the road with him, being on stage with him, going to every rehearsal with him, and for the first 2 years, spending every night with him. And so it's hard not to get involved in the songwriting, because then that's all we really wanted to do. Is when we'd get into a new town, we'd go to the nearest piano.
Well, congratulations
to make it happen.
to you.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming here and
sharing
your story with us.